Phillips, and I'm a Holocaust survivor from Ravensbrück. Family, vador, from generation to generation. Family, it is thanks to God and my brother that I have a family. My niece Janice and her children, whom I love like my very own. As Ruth said to Naomi, where they go, I will go. Their children are my children. They have given me a reason to live. My entire family, except for my brother and mother, were annihilated, destroyed, ripped from my very being. My two cousins shot in front of our very eyes, and I suffered 8 miscarriages after torturous treatment in Ravensbrück. So where do I start to tell my story? I can only share with you the pictures and images that have left an indelible print on my mind's eye. I so often wish they would disappear. I see them day and night. I still feel the fear, the pain, and the anger. As Elie Wiesel says in his book, Night, never will I forget the smoke that consumed my forever, not if I live to be as old as God himself. Budapest, Hungary, my beautiful home, our haven, which became our hell. Hungary became allied with Nazi Germany in 1940, and whatever Hitler did in Germany, so his blueprint on the final solution of the Jews was repeated in Hungary. Of the 6 million murdered Jews, 10% came from Hungary. 60,000 men, women, and children were taken, never to return. The Nazis were very experienced. It took very little time to exterminate so many thousands. They had the experience in Europe. We in Hungary were the last in the line of destruction. The date March 1944 will always be etched into my brain. 1944, 1 year before liberation, were all marched to the concentration camps. I see the pictures of my wonderful father, who was taken to the forced labor camps in 1940. My uncles, my cousins were also taken to those labor camps, except to my father, they never seen again. As these memories flood back in my mind's eye, ask myself, why did I survive? How did I survive? Who am I? I am Veronica Phillips, a geneticist, a scientist, one of the last survivors of Ravensbrück concentration camp. Before the Nazis, I lived in a luxurious apartment. My grandmother lived with us. We kept a kosher home. I see the glow of the Shabbos candles as my mother and my Bubba benched Licht, and the wonderful ruach of the Shabbos was brought into our home. That beautiful picture of family always overpowers the images which are there in my real view mirror. I was a bright child, top of my class. I always see the pictures of the yearbook where all the top students had their name in large print, not me. And when I asked why, they said, because you are a Jew. I remember answering, can't Jewish children be clever? The pictures of my school life stand out to this very day. Written on the blackboard were the words, Jews are rats. I started hating what I loved so much, school. An incredible thing happened. I see how the Swiss embassy gave us a certain pass to stay in a safe house, a tiny apartment shared with so many other families. I went there with my mother, my brother, and my two cousins. And then the picture changes to the arrow cross who broke into the tiny apartment, took us from the 5th floor, threw us down the stairs, and tore our passes apart. There is a picture of us all being marched to a park where my father joined us, and we were given, then we've been divided. My mother and brother were taken to the ghetto, and my father and I to the cattle cars where they separated the men and the women. That was the last time I have seen my father. He never returned. We tried to find him through the Red Cross, but to no avail. In the picture book of my mind, I can still see, feel and smell how they took us to Ravensbrück. Those pictures are engraved in my very being. Pushed into cattle cars, no room to sit or lie. We stood one against the other, unable to move, not even our arms. There was no food, no water, and no toilets. I don't remember how long we stood squashed together, days, nights, weeks. All became one death-defying feat of survival. We arrived in Ravensbrück at night. We heard the dogs barking and growling. The SS men were shouting, "Schnell, schnell!" This was a living nightmare, especially for a young girl. They marched us into massive tent, where again there was no room to sit. In the corners were large oil tanks which we used as latrines. Again, no food, no water, no room to sit or sleep, so we slept against one another, an upright sleep. The place was filled with lice. I remember scratching, and itch I can never forget. 3 women slept in one bunker, and the lice crawled all over us. When we were given food, it was rotten sweet potato soup, which poured out of our guts into the toilet holes in the ground. As there are pictures in one's mind, so the smell of putrefied bodies will linger on my every breath forever. They made us march to the gas chambers. It was a smell of burned bodies that entered our every cell. We were about to enter into the gas chamber when there was a call for 140 women to work in the aeroplane factory. I was one of the chosen because I spoke German. We were marched to Penig, where the factory was in the triangle of Chemnitz, Dresden and Leipzig. We worked in 2 shifts, and as we marched, I saw the pictures in my mind's eye of Dresden continuously burning. And when the Allies came, we were taken on the final death march. I still have the vision of people marching, falling, dying. Those who couldn't were shot on the spot. There was no food. I still taste the grass in my mouth that we ate when the SS weren't watching. A few of us survived. My cousin and I traveled on the top of an oil tanker, sitting on the top of a plank as we traveled towards Hungary. There were people coming and going through the borders. They powdered us with DDT to get rid of the lice. In Hungary, I remember seeing electric tram number 6, which took me to the shop which my family used. I was recognized by a Gentile woman who told me that my brother and mother had survived. We all arrived in Johanngeorgenstadt, where we were liberated by the Allies in May 1945. I met my husband, who had been in forced labor since 1940. They took him and 240 men to Russia. Only 5 returned. I see the pictures of him as he recalls how they had to sit in the trees and crow like a rooster until they fell down from the trees, frozen. We were married in Budapest. In 1956, we went to England, where we lived for 20 years. My brother was offered a job in South Africa, and of course, I came with them because they were my family. I lectured at Wits University, and I realized the importance of education. I am a survivor. My eyes saw, but no man should witness. Death chamber built by learned engineers, children poisoned by educated physicians, infants killed by trained nurses, women and children shot and burned by high school and college graduates. So I'm suspicious of education. My request is, as a teacher, help your student to become human. Your efforts must never produce learned monsters, skilled psychopaths, educated Aishmen. Reading is writing, maths are important only if they serve to make our children more human. Le door va door, from generation to generation. Thank you.